Hello, Legionnaires. Today we are cracking open Techno-Wizard Reform and Function from the Rifter number 21. I have never actually played a Techno-Wizard, but every time that glittering combo of magic and machinery shows up, I cannot resist learning and talking more about it. It's like that intriguing forbidden fruit that I always want to talk about, but never quite want to touch. So hammer that like button, pull the trigger on the subscribe button, share the video with your resident gadget junkie, and we are going to get started here. Now, get my notes. There we go. And let's go to page 41. This is from the Rifter 21, as you can see right there. Booyah! Synergy. Is that where? Oh, I guess it technically starts up there. All right, so question for you. Before you even get started, question for you. What is the craziest Techno-Wizard device you or one of your players has ever brought to the table? Post the item and the story in the comments. That way we can all marvel at someone's ingenuity, or more appropriately, for the internet anyway, laugh at you for how that could never happen and you're playing the game wrong.
Because everyone knows that we only like to call people stupid.
That's right. At least according to our comment section, which could be you. All right, possibly the two most important aspects of a Techno-Wizard device and virtually impossible to place into a chart, table, or formula are the device's form and function. These aspects in themselves are important for designing something in real life and doubly important for a wizard who bases his work on belief. The stronger the belief of the Techno-Wizard, the stronger the Techno-Wizard device will be in one or more aspects. In a reality based on belief, the most believable is the most real, such as an insight into the mind of a wizard. Both form and function need to be grounded in the mind of the Techno-Wizard for optimal effects. All right. So one of the things I have a little concern about that information right there is I agree with it wholeheartedly, but I don't know if that philosophy, we'll call it, is written into the Rifts rules. No, and if not, that's going to cause some people some heartburn. With that said, it's right and it should be put into the rules.
No, I get it. I get it. I mean, you should not be able to enchant a deck of cards to fire off laser beams. You know,
right, and we're going to talk about that. We're absolutely going to get into it.
But the problem with you codifying a belief system into magic that doesn't exist anywhere else, you're creating more complication than you need to. Again.
Yeah, but I will say that this article, if not word for word, at least conceptually, and I'm going to link it into the description. I think I have this in my notes a little further down. Pretty much what this article said is what Kevin and Sean talked about when they were on the show, talked about Techno-Wizards a few months ago. So I'm almost reiterating what they're saying. It's just it happens to be in a Rifter in this one. So I am going to say it now. I'm not the Techno-Wizard expert, and you guys in the comments and the chat might disagree, but I love this article, and if it's not part of the game, it needs to become part of the game. But we'll get into more as to why here in just a moment. Where are we? So we're at form. So form is a Techno-Wizard's device apparent mode of function. Basically visualizing how it works. It looks like a gun. It's going to do shooty things, right?
Sure.
As well as its appearance. The more it mirrors technology and the Techno-Wizard's reality, the more potent the device will be. Sure, you can make a Techno-Wizard television that the mage can strap on his back and use to fly. But what does a television have to do with flight? What does a Techno-Wizard gun have to do with the gate mechanics? Some of the more out-of-theme designs should incur penalties in design, construction, and application of the effect once the Techno-Wizard device is functioning. I want to be very clear here. Notice it doesn't say it shouldn't work. It doesn't say you can't do it. It's saying that it should incur penalties if you strap a TV to your back and think that's what's going to make you fly. Again, I like this. Let's just scroll down to the last paragraph in the first column. Okay, well, that looks like the, but a Techno-Wizard. Okay, I don't know which one it is, but they're both there. There we go. Yes, normal wizards routinely bend reality to their will, but a Techno-Wizard is the child of both magic and technology. Not quite planted on either world, but straddling both at the same time. Not quite accepted by either. The Techno-Wizard is a mage, no doubt about that, and can force reality to bend his will, though to a lesser effect than, say, the Leyline Walker. But if the Techno-Wizard already believes in something, we'll call it the reality of science, he doesn't need to force his belief. It spares his willpower to make his magic more potent. And if you're reading along with me, you're going to notice that I added some words in there because this dude doesn't write clearly. So I had to fix some of what he was writing to make it a little bit more clear. So this starts down here now about the Techno-Wizard jetpack. We'll look at that. Scroll over. Ooh. Now, how about the Techno-Wizard jetpack? Well, jetpacks fly. That sounds like it's within the theme of the Techno-Wizard device, right? A game master may even grant a bonus in some manner. Extra speed, duration, reduced PPE costs, easier to make, etc. Notice I said the word may. This is all going to stack onto each other. You know, one thing, one other thing, Let's get through this so we see how it all stacks onto each other to see ultimately if it's good, bad, or otherwise for your table. Within the synergy between form and function lies another synergy. The synergy amongst the spells and gems that power a Techno-Wizard device's function. If there are spells complementary to each other, the device will function better than if you had a mishmash of spells thrown in. The majority of Techno-Wizards just ignore the synergy in favor of creating something fantastic. That's okay. Spells don't have to work together to make the device function. In this most average case, the device gets no bonuses or penalties. It's only if you have spells contradictory to each other that the Game Master should, doesn't say will, must, should think of assigning penalties, and if the spells work synergistically with each other, then the Game Master should apply a bonus of some sort. The article shifts to gem synergies, which I'm not going to talk about right here. You might need to plane hop to snag the perfect crystal for that next level bonus, but the journey, honestly, it's half the fun for the Techno-Wizard for your table and for the shifter to get you there. You got to get there somehow. Page 42, first there we go. That's 42, first paragraph, top. All right, back to the jetpack example. The Game Master says that a jetpack is appropriate for flight. Duh. The only spell on the jetpack is fly, so you don't have to worry about synergetic or anti-synergetic spells. Does the Game Master grant the full effect of the fly spell to the Techno-Wizard device? There should be no problem with that. A Techno-Wizard can be zipping all around within the confines of a fly spell. This, again, I don't think this guy is clear necessarily when he writes, although he does get to the meat here in just a moment. The fly spell allows you to go zip, 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 right? Somebody's saying, it doesn't really do that. It's just me. Don't care. The point is a jetpack is normally forward and up. The fly spell, you could do more. A player or game master could restrict the fly spell to function as a jetpack would, just flying straight, and the pilot having control of it via the jetpack skill. So there's two things, straight and the skill. This is more limited, but should provide an advantage. Maybe it's faster than before, or costs less to activate. Remember, the less effort the mage needs to expend trying to force his beliefs, the more power he can apply to the effects rather than the manifestation of the Techno-Wizard device. Again, I know that's that philosophy stuff, but I think the philosophy's spot on. Just unfortunately, it's not in the rules, so I understand if you're going to be the person out there who's like, yeah, I don't look at it that way. I get it, but it does make sense. The author follows his commentary with a pretty slick example of rethinking a C12 rifle in the manner of how a Techno-Wizard thinks, like shifting the enchantment from the firearm itself to the E-clip. That way, anyone can still use the weapon simply by swapping out the E-clip. Heathen Dog puts in his normal standard E-clip, goes pew, pew, pew. I put in my Techno-Wizard E-clip, and I go bzz, bzz, bzz. Whatever. Page 42, first column, bottom paragraph. There we go. That looks like the bottom paragraph. Any number of modifications to technology can be made, especially because magic can circumvent physics. You might use the spell impervious to fire to prevent overheating, or carpet of adhesion to give you more traction than tires could possibly afford. We'll talk actually about that in a moment. There we go. It says top paragraph, but that doesn't look, whatever. A Techno-Wizard might build an engine based on conventional concepts, but add in spells like superhuman strength to grant a 4-cylinder engine the power of an 8-cylinder engine when activated, or superhuman speed to increase the device's overall speed. Also remember that Techno-Wizardry is powered by potential psychic energy or inner strength points, not electricity or normal energy. To have Techno-Wizard functions always active, you need to keep feeding that function. Well, need to keep feeding that function energy, or have a PPE battery on board. One common tactic is to minimize the Techno-Wizard effects, but leave an option to increase the effects if needed. Say you have an ATV with carpet of adhesion on the tires. To your 5th level, this would last 50 melee rounds, or 12.5 minutes. Unfortunately, at full power, it's enough to act as a braking system. I mean, carpet adhesion makes you go, stop. That's not traction, that's stopping. So the Game Master may allow you to tone it down to 1/10 its normal strength and increase the duration by 10 times, giving it effectively sticky tires, but with a duration of over 2 hours at 125 minutes. This is creative use of an ability, but you do have to work with the Game Masters to make that happen. The piece then dives into prototypes and mistakes, mandatory reading and understanding in my view. Basically, a Techno-Wizard device starts with some quirks until properly field tested. The section gives fair guidelines so the GM does not hammer the player daring to innovate. But we're going to skip to the other side of this. We're talking there, hey, you succeeded, but now you've got quirks? What the hell? Let's look at what happens if you fail. Mistakes. By the way, if you like it conceptually, want to know more about whatever those, what was that called? Prototypes. Go get the book. You can get on Drive-Thru-RPG right now, and within the next week or so, probably off the Palladium site. If a player fails to roll by a few percentage points, give him a device with a twist. A failure of up to just 5% should have a noticeable but not necessarily negative effect, just a quirk. Failure by 6 to 15 should carry some unexpected quirk that makes a device functional, but not quite right. Maybe it costs more PPE to power the effect, or PPE storage is leaking energy at a rate of 1 per hour. Is that a lot for a Techno-Wizard? I don't know. Failure? What's that? I mean, I don't know if it validates the percentage. I'm just,
No, the whole things are ideas. It's fine.
Okay. Failure by 16 to 20% should be something drastic. Maybe it goes boom. Maybe it works. They give examples here. I don't remember exactly what they all said because I didn't put that in here because we're going to go on. But there are good examples in here of what could happen where it still technically works, but maybe it attacks the wrong target or has the wrong effect or whatever. So my question for you, though, is what quirk, not Kirk, Captain Kirk never had quirks. What quirk, flaw, or hilarious side effect would you slap on a barely failed, say 5%, 10% Techno-Wizard device roll? And if you come up with something really cool and interesting, we may talk about it on a future live stream, especially if they come with super thanks. So leave a comment with your thoughts. First column. Okay, I'm not. Okay, so actually, I'm skipping this read through here. This is awesome, though. But unfortunately, it's a step-by-step TTP tactics, techniques, and procedures process. The walkthrough is really well done. Picture a workflow form like for your company or agency where you design the concept, you build the schematic, submit it to the game master, get procurement approval, and then start soldering ley line capacitors. If you want that level of detail, just get it. Whether as a Techno-Wizard or the Game Master, grab the Rifter 21. Of course, I have a link in the description below. What we want to look at, though, is this. Lexicon of terms. I'm actually not going to talk about this. I'm going to spend some time here, and I even have a little bit of a rant. Where is it? Techno-Wizard construction skill. What? That's not in the book. I don't care. I love it. It might be a Rifts Ultimate Edition. I don't know. I think this book is before Rifts Ultimate Edition by a few months. I can't remember. So now we hit the meat. Terms like formula cost, something I really like. But the Techno-Wizard construction skill, I love this. 70% plus 2% per level experience. This is an automatic OCC skill for the Techno-Wizard and covers most aspects of the construction process. Now I got a little sandboxy tangent here for you. A skill with 70% base and 2% per level increase is exactly how core OCC skills should look, you start off competent, but you never hit perfect because there's always some room for failure. And the players at the table still hold their breath anytime you roll. Core competency skills at 40% never felt right to me. Not for people who are trained professionals. Now I know, Max, we've got you. We can clip 300 times when you said how players can use their minds and imaginations and resources to find ways to make those 40% rolls better. And oh, here's another one. OCC skills, once you add on the 10, 15%, they really aren't 40%. A lot of them are still low in my opinion. But there's something I've also learned over the last few years of doing this YouTube thing. And that's many GMs lack imagination for this type of trope or flexibility. And I mean that seriously. We talk with Kevin and Sean and now Jeremy behind the scenes, and they won't say it to the emphatic level that we will, but sometimes they are absolutely confused on why doesn't a game master just do this? Why do I have to explain to him that it's okay to do? A lot of you are like, nope, it says 40%. There's nothing you can do about it. Level up, scrub. I don't know if it's a fear of loopholes or breaking the game, but far too many of you seem to have it in black and white before you apply a fair and reasonable modifier. That concept, to be fair, works for some games, but for the Palladium games, it's a framework. Creativity that is grounded in the verisimilitude of the setting trumps the limitations presenting by what the book either states or doesn't state. Yes, you should follow the rules. But understand that the percentages and modifiers for various roles are somewhat flexible when players think creatively and appropriately for the setting. If you do not do that, or I'm sorry, if you do that, I don't know why I put do not do that there. That is a weird statement. If you do that, a 40% competency does not bother me at all. Until then, until game masters actually start using their creativity, I think the 70 plus 2 is more preferable over a 40 plus 5. Now, with that said, the soapbox is over. He's not going to start paying attention again.
Oh no, I was looking up the Rifts Ultimate Edition, and the Rifts Ultimate Edition official Techno-Wizard construction guidelines have a base in the Rifter number 21 by Sean Theron.
Okay.
It's based on this.
Okay. Excellent.
But it doesn't use the Techno-Wizard construction skill.
Oh, okay.
But it uses the next best thing, which is if you're building a dune buggy, it's build automobile. If you are building a jetpack, it's build jetpack. If you're building a plane, it's build plane. You know, all that stuff.
Yeah, I got it.
Build gun.
There's part of that reason was probably also, and I'm not saying Kevin would ever say this. I'm saying this in a general sense. This is why authors say, don't send me your story. I'm not going to look at it. I have to throw it in the trash because you're going to, sue me for stealing your idea. It could be something like that as well, where he's like, well, I can't do the Techno-Wizard construction skill because then this guy's going to start asking for royalties. I don't know. There are many reasons why that could have been done differently, but conceptually, I like it. And I had that little rant in there because when I was reading that, I was like, this is just absolutely perfect. I think that's the way they should be. And I know there are arguments against it. I just don't think that game masters are mature enough to do it. Most of them. And that means me on occasion as well. All right, let's end the article by taking a closer look at these bonuses and penalties. This is to that 70%. Okay. My favorite, and we're going to scroll down here in just a moment, is this one. Minus 80% penalty if you don't have a schematic. Planning? Who needs planning? I have these gems left over. It's like having the IKEA bookshelf.
Oh, what? Nope. Sorry. Techno-Wizard Construction's there.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's there. Apparently, if you are building a bike and you also have build bike, it gives you a bonus or something.
Okay. And so some of that's here. I mean, you got prototype schematics. That means these plans are for a prototype and thus receive the penalty. You have working from another Techno-Wizard schematics. He doesn't draw the same way you do or talk the same way, especially in the Rifts world, right? There isn't probably the IEEE or whatever to codify how these things are supposed to be written up. Bad schematics, no schematics, miniaturization. You're trying to do what the Japanese did to our technology in the 70s. Like, hey, let's take the American stuff and make it smaller. Well, that adds a penalty to it. Extremely rushed. You get the idea. There are a couple in here I would change. I think the penalties are either a little too much or not enough, but that's personal preference. Generally speaking, I like what this has to offer, but again, your mileage may vary on the specifics of the 10s and 1s and 25s. Now, bonuses. It's not just all penalties or bonuses in here. You got disassembling a working Techno-Wizard device. Hey, you know what? What's the best way of learning how something works? Take apart one that's already working. Of course, while it's apart, it's not going to work properly, but, hopefully you can put it back together. Using a proven schematic. Get a bunch of those online right now, right? Taking your time. And this goes back to my rant. Something like this. Obviously, making a read sensory equipment roll to see if a missile's about to hit you probably isn't something you want to take your time on. But so many skills in the game, if you just tell your game master, hey, I'm going to spend a couple of days researching this. I'm going to spend some time doing this. I'm going to go to the local library. I'm going to check the internet. I'm going to go talk to an expert in the field, whatever, should give you a bonus. At your leisure. This one I kind of disagree with because it only adds 2/3 to the creation time. When it says at your leisure, that I think that should add like 3 times to the.
That's
but again, I'm being pedantic when I say that. But you can see all these bonuses and penalties on here. So where were my notes? I did say I like the 80% one the most, and it isn't because I like penalties, but it shows that the Techno-Wizard is meant to take the time to plan out his designs, and it gives a player a reason to doodle at the table. So which bonus or penalty in that construction chart do you think is the most punishing or the most rewarding? In the comments, defend your choices. And for my final thoughts about the Techno-Wizard submission, I can stop sharing. This article should be baseline Techno-Wizard canon. Apparently, according to I think about 35 people told me this in the comments. I ignored them because I didn't care. I'm still covering this. Yes, I get it. It was put in a Rifts Ultimate Edition, and this was before Rifts Ultimate Edition. Cool. Got it. Okay. Dog even did some lookup on there.
Yeah.
But there are even some of the concepts, that philosophical concept, I actually really like as well. I think it adds a lot to the understanding of why you want to make an item look like an item and not be some sort of douche nozzle that turns this this cup into a fireball. Especially as a Techno-Wizard. I don't care if Leyline Walkers do it. I don't care if Mystics do it. But as a Techno-Wizard, use the right tool for the right job, as they like to say. You can tweak a percentage here or there, but the framework, I'm saying that again, framework presented really nails the Techno-Wizard theme, balance, and fun. Don't take my word for it. You watch Techno-Wizard chat with Kevin and Sean, as I said at the beginning of this, and I will hopefully have the link in the description. You will notice a striking resemblance to what they said and what this article says. And before we chat, this deep dive gave you something interesting to consider with regard to the Techno-Wizard. Like the video, subscribe to Legion of Myth for more Palladium content, and share this video with your next would-be Tesla of Spellcraft. What do we have for comments? I saw. I didn't read them, but I saw a comment.
There's
was
a whole bunch.
flying.
There's a whole bunch. Yeah, mostly it was like, oh yeah, it's in the RU, and it even references the Rifter 21, and so that's what I was doing when you said I wasn't paying attention. I was looking it up. So if you wanted me to throw it on the screen, I'd be able to throw it up there. Okay. So I wanted to get it ready. Let me see.
Remember, I'm not a Rifts guy, so this stuff like this, that's like, Max, it's already been incorporated. I don't know. I just thought it was really cool, and now it's kind of good to see where the grounding framework for the Rifter, or not Rifter, where Rifts Ultimate Edition came from.
I'm trying to find out where it started.
I think I started. Oh my God, you started a ton.
I started a ton. Yeah. I think this one was the first one.
Well, we have Kevin Sullivan.
Oh, that's it. Yes, that's the first one. I like where this is going with this, in the sense that having a player really sit down and think through how an item is crafted. I would enjoy it personally, but I can see a game getting stuck in the mud. Well, the thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, Max, you wouldn't be doing this during the game. This is something before or after your normal game session, when your player is running this by the GM to see if this is even feasible, let alone can we now start building it.
Mm-hmm. So I thought I don't remember I thought I put it in my notes here, but one of the things I did write down at some point here is I don't expect the player to have a degree in architecture design to do this. That's why I specifically at one point used the word doodle. So you can doodle at the table, show me what you want, but put a little effort into it. And you don't have to get out the graph paper. If you want to, that's on you. But yeah, it would be something that you probably do in between sessions. But that's where the prototyping comes in. We didn't really talk about the prototyping, but there's like a D6 roll that says, well, it might not work exactly as you'd hope right off the bat. You got to dial it in a little bit. And I'm totally okay with that. I think that makes a Techno-Wizard more fun. You know, how we read through were the mistakes that you can still use as a plausible item, right? We didn't read through were the prototypes where you take your success, but it's still got some quirks as well. It's a both sides of the function. So instead of just binary 1, 0, it's more like, yep, well,
a graded scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next we have RPG Grandma says, also, if you think it's reasonable that the PC would just succeed, don't have the player roll for it. Well, yeah, I mean, again, Max and I are really proponents of if the roll is not important or game impacting or whatever, just hand wave it. You know, I mean, for example, this particular Techno-Wizard has made 10 Techno-Wizard gliders. This is his 11th. He has the same materials. He has the same quality of stuff. He has the same amount of time. I'm not going to make him roll. He's just that good at it now.
I would say it depends what he's using it for.
Well, no, he's using it as a Techno-Wizard glider. Exactly.
I'm saying, but if he's using it for sale, I'd make him roll.
I still wouldn't. I'd like, fuck it. You're really good at it now. You don't need to. But I get that. I don't know what this means. I don't know what this was referencing.
I can say it. It just me, but hey, he gave $5 for it, so
yeah. So I got to throw it up there.
Thank you,
Kevin. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're referencing when you do this. He and the Dog Techno-Wizard construction skill is in the RUE. Look at the OCC. Yes, I missed it. It is there, and it's 70 plus 2% per level, just like it is in the write up.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the game designer notes. He was saying personally, I would have wanted to make something simpler than what was found in the Rifter 21, but he was pressured by Kevin. I'm reading between the lines here to use this base it off of the Rifter 21 write up.
Wasn't Kevin that was the designer?
I'm reading between the lines.
Okay.
That he was pressured to do it. Okay.
I like this.
I know you do. And that's the last I have started. Did he come back and say what he?
I don't know. That's my fault then. So hold on. That should have been deleted. I don't delete super chats because I can't. Or I mean, I need to have the super chats on here. And Rifts the reason. Yep. Just unfortunately have. Yep. Yeah, these should have been deleted. That's my fault.
That's okay.
Yep. It's gone.
And Walter says if you don't play a game that has a lot of downtime, the Techno-Wizard is a bad choice. Not if you don't use this convoluted crap that I don't like. I hated this article. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. Despised it. You're making it too hard to be a Techno-Wizard. It's too damn hard. I would never want to play one.
I don't see how it's hard.
I do.
Okay, do tell, because I don't. I mean, I have to get items. I have to get gems.
Techno-Wizard's main advantage / disadvantage is that he has to use his spells through devices. Great. If he doesn't have the device, he can still cast it normally, but it's at half everything. Half duration, power, damage, everything. But he has it in his device. It's full power and cool enough, unlike other spellcasters where they have to spend maybe 2, maybe 3 actions casting a spell. He can pull a trigger and have it happen, or flip a switch and have it happen. That is the benefit of having to put it into a device. Now, having him fail to make the device, I don't like. Having time to make the device is fine. But having the ability to fail at his job, no, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Nobody's perfect at their job, though.
Sure. Yeah, it's realistic. Yeah, he could fail. Oh, he wired it wrong. He used the wrong gems. Yeah, okay. That could happen. It doesn't in my game, ever. Or any game I play in. It's never going to happen. Never.
Yeah, I believe in risk reward, though. That percentage is decent enough, and you can do the things to raise the percentage more. Like I said, I'd tweak some of them. I think that -80, even though I love it, It's a bit
too much.
Yeah, that one's a bit too much, especially if you consider I have a 70% chance at level
it's
1
hard with
and a
70.
minus 80 penalty.
So I'm at minus 10% to succeed.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
But I get what it's trying to sell there, and I like the idea of the quirk. So using a different game, BattleTech in the first edition Mercenaries Handbook has these things called jury rig rules for repairing mechs, and no BattleTech player ever liked them. I absolutely loved them because if you replaced, and you have to understand BattleTech, and I'm not getting all the history of it, but it isn't like they aren't modular components. So if you remove a large laser to put in 2 medium lasers, the entirety of the mech is like, wait, what just happened here? It's got different ranges. Now I got 2 things to consider instead of just 1. I got to do all that. So you would roll on the jury rig table to determine, hey, how is it acting? And then after that mission, you'd repair it up and see if it's still jury. After a while, yes, the weapon would work fine. The mech would get used to it, or it could become permanent through some critical failures. I like things like that because you're taking things out of scope. And I think that one of the things that the Techno-Wizard's doing, and that's what this article is preaching, is the more you use something in scope, the easier it is for you. The more you use it out of scope, the more you're just trying to screw yourself. I think that that's cool. And the die roll's not even that big of a deal. If you take a flamethrower and just say, I want my flame now to do mega damage vice, SDC, or I want it to shoot out an extra 100 feet or something, something that's believable, but absolutely outside the realm what that does. I don't see why you'd even necessarily have the person roll, or the roll should be so easy that, hey, look, anybody can screw up. You're not going to lose your gems. You're not going to lose. And even then, if you fail by 5%, it's got just this little minor quirk. Okay, it doesn't go out 100 feet like you wanted. It goes out 80 feet. And you can work on that. You can dial that in.
Yeah, you can, but I don't see the reason to. I don't see the benefit in this that you do. All I see is you're adding complication where it doesn't need to be. You're right. There's benefit for it, but there's too much detriment too. And this is the only class that does this. Adding more rule set to this class just makes it more and more cumbersome.
It's like the hardware. It's supposed to be cumbersome.
Role-playing benefit to offset the difficulty that's added. I don't see it.
Well, there you go, folks. What are your thoughts in there? Do you want to play it? And I'm intentionally doing this to get people spun up. Do you want to play it like a computer game where it just automatically works? Or do you want to play it like real life and grind through the day to see if it works? I cannot talk. Put your thoughts in the comments. I can't get my thoughts out, and let us know. Do you think there's a happy medium somewhere? I don't know. Oh, thank you. Like I said, I like him. Heathen Dog doesn't. What are your thoughts? And look forward to seeing you guys. Oh, next week. What am I doing next week? Next week, apparently a glutton for punishment. I'm going to be doing 2 books and comparing them or going through them. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do it yet. I'm going to go through the Rifts Adventure Guide and was it the Primer, Adventure Primer, whatever it's called. I'm going to be going through those 2 because people said, Max, you covered the wrong book. The Rifts Game Master Guide isn't really a Game Master Guide. These 2 books are the Game Master Guide. Well, the one that says Game Master Guide is the one I'm going to call.
Yeah, I know. I agree with the first one. Yeah, the Rifts Game Master Guide wasn't a real Game Master Guide. I agree.
But we're gonna look at the primer, and we're gonna look at the adventure guide, and we're gonna either compare and contrast them, or we're just gonna compile them together and see what they add to the Rifts universe and to a Rifts Game Master's repertoire. So look forward to talking to you all then.